Welcome to the Prop Market. I'm your host, the Prop King, and today I have my 2024 NFL Week 4 prop bets. So I'm super excited about this week. A lot of research was done, a lot of time in the lab. We have more information to kind of base our picks on. So it just gives us way more confidence as people that are making these picks. And I hope you enjoy this video. And before I get to this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what just happened. I just got through watching the Virginia Tech and Miami football game. I actually picked Virginia Tech plus 19. That game came right down to the wire. So once again, for the second week in a row, my best bet on my college football video has hit. So I'm 2-0 in the last 2 weeks. I think it's 3-0 in total on my best bets. So go and check out my college football video that I just posted yesterday, and there's a lot of great content on there. I also won my first prop bet on there, and I'll have another one coming out soon. So I love doing college football. I love doing NFL. I'll be your tour guide all year. I have some great picks for you. Like I said, keep what you like, leave what you don't. Use this as an informational channel. Got my man Justin Fields up here. He's part of these 6 great picks I have for you today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and get into those picks. First pick is Deontay Johnson from the Panthers. Struggled a little bit when Bryce Young was starting. That's why his average fantasy score is set at 11.6, but projected fantasy score is at 17.4. So if you're just paying attention to the numbers, you might say, man, 11.6, that's under what you have him making this week. But last week, Andy Dalton's first game as the starter for the Panthers, he had 26.2 fantasy score. He also had 14 targets with Andy Dalton as the quarterback. Not to mention, Thielen, the probably go-to receiver, is out injured. I see a bunch of targets for him. Not to mention, another thing is the Bengals defense is really, really bad. If you watch them play, they're not very good versus the pass. Andy Dalton will use Deontay Johnson as his number one receiver. I see him getting upwards of 6 or 7 targets. I like his targets number, but I really like his over here, over 13.5 fantasy score. I'm very confident in this pick. Second pick on the board is the Justin Fields pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Average fantasy score is at 14.3. I got him projected at 17.5 for this week. Thing about Justin Fields is he's getting better every single week. He's getting more opportunities to do different things every single week. The Colts are currently ranked 26 as far as defense versus the pass. Um, Not very good. 30 overall ranked defense, not very strong defense that he's going against this week. I also like Justin Fields using his legs, which he hasn't done yet. He only ran the ball 6 times last game. I see if he has to do it, he'll do a lot more. But he's throwing the ball really well as well, not and taking care of the football, not turning it over. Justin Fields has had a struggle his beginning of his career, but I think he's found his stride. I like his over 16.5 fantasy score. I feel like this is a pretty good number for someone who's playing so well against a really bad defense. Third pick is Kyler Murray from the Cardinals. Average fantasy score 19.8, projected him at 21.3. Thing about Kyler Murray is this guy's always been a winner. Probably the best college football, high school football player ever in the state of Texas. Um, 49 points is the highest over on the board, and that's what this game is set at. So it should be a lot of scoring. Defense struggles to stop on both sides. So I think there'll be a lot of scoring back and forth. Marvin Harrison is another good pick if you're doing fantasy. I think he'll get a lot of opportunities this week as well. But I really like Kyler Murray this week. I like this spot for him. So I love his over 20.5 fantasy score for Kyler Murray. Next pick is a guy I watched a lot last week, Josh Allen, and man, is he doing well. Really coming in, throwing the football better than a lot of people think. I wouldn't mind his over 230 passing yards. But he's also going to run the ball. He's also going to get a couple rushing touchdowns. I believe he's going to get one rushing touchdown for sure. And the Ravens, this team is underestimated as an offense. Lamar Jackson really has them humming. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game than projected. Probably one of my favorite picks on the board. just because this guy can do so much. His average fantasy score is at 24.3. And to be honest, he hasn't even played a full game last time. He played about three quarters. So, and a lot of that third quarter, they were trying to just run the clock out. So in the games that he's played full and really played well, I think that he's easily going to go over this total of 20.5 fantasy score. I don't see any way Josh Allen doesn't go over this, especially the fact that he's going to have to score to keep up with Lamar Jackson. And the Ravens defense, they're really good versus the run, not so good versus the pass. Next guy is Kyle Pitts from the Falcons. Kyle Pitts is a dangerous pick for a lot of people because he kind of, let's just be honest, he's not really reached his potential in the NFL yet. So it's a little bit of a scary pick, but not for me. Um, 36 in defending tight ends and he's going to have a lot of opportunity this week. I don't see a world where he doesn't get the ball in situations because I think there's a situation now where the Falcons are kind of saying we got to get Kyle Pitts the ball. We got to get him opportunities because he just hasn't had them of late. And that bodes well for his totals. Kirk Cousins is getting a little more comfortable in there at quarterback, which bodes well for us as well. Like I said, I don't see a world where he doesn't get 4 to 5 targets. With those 4 to 5 targets, I see him making some big plays with them. Um, this this New Orleans defense struggles, and they 32nd versus tight ends. They just struggle in the defensive back, as you can see. They give up a lot of open plays. This is going to be opportunity over 8 fantasy score, pretty low for a guy like Kyle Pitts. He can do this on 3 to 4 catches, and they don't even have to be super long. So a very low number for somebody who I feel should be a major part of the Falcons' offensive game. Last guy is Aaron Jones from the Vikings. Bounce back spot for Aaron Jones. Fantasy score is 18.5. Projected score is 17.3. You probably say, what do you mean bounce back? He was great last game. But the Packers didn't want him. He's going back to Lambeau. He played there his whole career. He's got something to prove. I think the Vikings are going to make sure that he proves it. And he's been great this year. It's not just, oh, he's got a narrative to prove. This dude actually has been great this year. You see his fantasy score average, his projected score is a little bit lower than that. I think he gets in the end zone. I think he catches a couple screen passes. They get him the ball as many times as possible. This Packer defense struggles versus the run. So I like his over 14.5 fantasy score. As you can see, the score that he's averaged is almost a full 4 points below what his average is. I love his 18.5 fantasy score. Now a quick recap. We have Johnson over 13.5 fantasy score. We have Fields over 16.5 fantasy score. We have Murray over 20.5 fantasy score. We have Allen over 20.5 fantasy score. We have Pitts over 8 fantasy score and Jones over 14.5 fantasy score. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the information, if you find any of this information useful, go ahead and like the video and then subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'll be your tour guide throughout this NFL football season. I also have a bunch of picks for college football. So go ahead and subscribe and like this video so I can continue to make these videos. And like I always say, keep what you like, leave what you don't. Let's cash.